OT in Cincy and a wild one off a would-be game winner, Evan McPherson miss. It's King Henry, who was held in check throughout much of this game, but rattles off 51 yards deep into Cincy territory, and that's going to set up a chip shot for Justin Tucker, who has struggled throughout this season, but no struggles there. Also hit a long one in this game. And that's your final 41-38 set up by a King. It's a game winner from Tuck. And heartbreak from Cincy, who puts forth their best effort thus far this season.
Wow, 1-4.
Comes away with a loss and a 1-4 record. Burrow 30-39, 392, 5 touchdowns, a career high, and it comes in a loss. Lamar Jackson, not to be glossed over his success in the pass game here. 348 and 4 TDs for the dual threat. Joe Musso back in studio alongside Bryant McFadden. What was a wild game here, Mac, and it always seems to be that between these two teams. We're watching, and you're telling me it's one of those games and one of those matchups that you sort of throw away the pretense that leads you into this game.
Yes, sir.
And just watch what it gives you. Defense coming at a premium in this one. What's your big takeaway from this 60-plus minutes of football?
Just how battle-tested Baltimore was, because it felt like, especially in the second quarter, this game was being controlled by Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Baltimore had no answer for that duo, quarterback and wide receiver. And then you throw in T. Higgins, especially in the red zone. He was getting things rolling as well. And it felt like Cincinnati, they were going to find a way to win this ball game. Defensively, that has been a concern for Cincy, and eventually that surfaced. So when you talk about Joe Burrow, you needed a little more from Joe Burrow. And what I mean when I say that, he had an unbelievable game. I mean, he was 392 yards, 5 touchdowns.
I got to give you more?
That costly interception.
Definitely.
To Marlon Humphrey gave Baltimore hope to be able to get this game into extra periods. I understand 5 touchdowns. I'm not saying they lost because of Joe Burrow.
I need a little more from that defense. I'm going to give you 5.
So my thing is this. You haven't gotten a little more from their defense the entire season. So why would you think they can give you a little more in a game where you're playing against the reigning MVP?
Certainly.
Along with King Henry. And they did a great job controlling the running game for Baltimore for 4 quarters. We didn't see Derrick Henry break loose until the overtime period. But there lies the moment to find a way to win the ball game. Every minute count, every second count in this game. And to what Joe Burrow did, Lamar Jackson was coming right back. And that turnover was what gave them hope. And I'll say this too. Lamar gave them a turnover as well in overtime. If I'm Zach Taylor, I do not get conservative.
No.
I keep it rolling with my $55 million quarterback. Let's keep it rolling. Yes. Because yet and still, when you got that recovery by your defense, you weren't in favorable field goal position. You still needed to get some more positive yards. He got conservative.
I mean, 5 touchdowns from Burrow. You got a call sheet. You know how these OCs do it. They hit that highlighter. Let's go back to that one. Let's go back.
Yes.
Just go back to something that already worked throughout the course of this game.
Yes, because I mean, McPherson has done a real good job being a reliable kicker. But in these moments, especially in how heightened the atmosphere was, you want to make it as makeable as possible. Don't get conservative. Say, you know what? Oh, the game is over. Great job, defense. Guy gave us a turnover. We're going to run play, kick the field goal, get out of town with a victory. No. Keep your foot on the gas. Don't be overly aggressive, but don't be super conservative where you put more pressure on your kicker than what you should have had, what you should have done if you just keep the playbook rolling. They had no answer for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. No answer
into
at all.
That miss, Evan McPherson had made his last 14 fourth quarter and overtime kicks. He's been clutch in so many moments, but I agree with your point that you got to set your guy up for success.
Yes.
And the play calling did not do that. On the other side of this one, it was a historic day for King Henry, who goes over 10,000 yards. Might be the last time we see that for some time, unless Zeke finds his footing late in his career. Also goes over 100 career total touchdowns. It's to be celebrated, and it's almost poetic. You know, I'm always looking for the metaphor or the story or the poetry in it, and this run right here encapsulates what this man has meant to this team thus far this season. Coming into this year, Mac, the run game is not what needed the boost for the Ravens, but could this, in a way, be the missing piece to get them over that hump they just can't seem to when it does come down to that time in January?
I mean, to your point, great point, because the running game has always been a strong suit for Baltimore, regardless who's been in the backfield, me or you. They've been able to run the football. But when you have Derrick Henry in the lineup, now you get the respect from opposing teams knowing who your RB1 is and how important he is to your offense. And I give praise to Cincinnati. They kept King Henry in check for 4 quarters of this ball game. The overtime periods where you saw King Henry step up to the plate and deliver. But that's the thing, when you're playing against a guy who can lean on you, who is in tip-top shape, he's always ready to go. When you think you have him bottled up a little bit, and then you take your foot off the gas just a tad and drive the speed limit, there lies the opportunity for him to pass you. You know what I mean? So that makes this defense, that offense very, very intriguing to try to slow down. And then when you talk about King Henry, let's look at what Lamar Jackson did. Almost 400 yards throwing.
Opens up some passing lanes having that
4
threat
touchdowns.
In the backfield.
Lamar Jackson is so good, he can give you productive numbers throwing to almost throwing to anybody. Look at what he did. When you look at Joe Burrow has the luxury of throwing to who? Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, right? Gesicki at the tight end position. Known commodities when it comes to catching footballs. Lamar Jackson, he makes everything around him better. That's why he won the MVP, and that's why he put up an MVP-like performance today, and he needed to do so. You know, I talked about that one blemish for Joe Burrow that led to an opportunity for Baltimore. Did Lamar Jackson have a blemish? He had one in the overtime period, but he got bailed out. He got bailed out.
It's the difference in the game.
And that's the difference.
Yeah.
When you're playing against good on good in these divisional moments, you have to take advantage of every opportunity, and you can't afford to make it easy for the opposing team. There lies my issue with Zach Taylor.
Yeah.
Because when you got that fumble, we're winning. We're winning. I understand you don't want to be aggressive, but look, Joe Burrow was cooking pots and pans and everything. No, don't take the pots and pans out of the kitchen. He still need it.
He went to the TV dinner.
Yeah, that's college. You don't do that when you're a professional.
Salisbury steak ain't gonna get it done.
I lived off Salisbury steak at Florida State.
We got more coming here on HQ. We promise fillets, ribeyes, and I'm a fan of a New York strip. Fastest player to 100-plus career touchdowns. Derrick Henry did it in 124 career games. How's just about a touchdown a game or just shy of it? King Henry has a new throne, resplendent in purple. We'll see if he is the missing piece for B More.